So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Sarah Phillips. I'm at Indiana University. I'm the coordinator, along with Svetlana Melnik, my colleague at Indiana University, of the Non-Residential Scholars Program for Ukraine. It's our pleasure today to have two English language talks in our research workshop series, and I would like to introduce our first speaker. Our first speaker is Dr. Serhiy Shevchenko. He is he's Doctor of Economics and Associate Professor in the Department of Entrepreneurship and Environmental Examination of Goods at Lviv Polytechnic National University. He holds a Philosophy Doctor of Economics degree. Dr. Shevchenko specializes in the fields of economics, management, and public administration, and his scholarly and pedagogical interests include economic policy, strategic management, logistics, sustainable development, and curricular innovations. His work integrates theoretical insights with practical applications, contributing to both effective learning outcomes and broader economic advancement. We would like to thank Penn State University for supporting Dr. Shevchenko's fellowship, in particular the College of Agriculture. And Dr. Shevchenko's presentation today is entitled Restoration of Ukraine's Ecological Balance in the Context of Post-War Natural Landscape Reclamation. So welcome, Dr. Shevchenko. We're looking forward to your talk, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sarah. Let me share my screen and we can start. Alt Shift. Okay, just a second. Just a second, it's not opening. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the delay. Just a second. I don't know why I don't see a button to share. Okay. Now it's okay. Please tell me if you see my screen.
Yes, it looks great.
Okay. Thank you very much. Sorry for the delay. Thank you, Sarah, one more time. Well, allow me to introduce myself and my project. My name is Serhiy Shevchenko, and I am an associate professor at the Department of Entrepreneurship and Commodity Expertise in the Institute of Sustainable Development, Lviv Polytechnic National University. I have nearly 20 years of teaching experience. Currently, I teach courses in trade logistics, innovation and project initiation, and government regulation of entrepreneurship for both undergraduate and master's degree programs. My academic background in economics is closely connected to the National Forestry University of Ukraine, which explains my deep interest in environmental economics and sustainable development. Following Russia's full-scale invasion in Ukraine, I founded the public organization Generation of Warm Ukraine. One of its key activities is the promotion of green values and rising environmental awareness among Ukrainians. Of course, I would be pleased to share all the achievements of our organization, but at this moment, I would like to focus on presenting the project Eco-Fortress, Restoring Together. It is obvious that military actions leave their mark on all spheres of social life. Our task was to focus on aspects related to the ecological economy. So, about a year ago, the Eco Fortress Restoring Together project was launched. In general, the issues that are in focus of the project are: the war has disrupted the ecological balance in Ukraine. Soils and waters are polluted, as well as natural landscapes are being destroyed. There is an urgent need to train specialists to restore the environment and ecosystems. It is clear that the ongoing war has left a significant impact on all areas of social life. We are aware of the catastrophic scale of these consequences, which is why our approach is to start with small initiatives and gradually expand them to large-scale projects. So, the first direction at the moment, which is closest to us as residents of Lviv, is an anthropogenic transformation of the ecological conditions of Lviv. The main challenge is to ensure effective management of Lviv's green spaces and develop a strategy for their restoration. Historically, our city has been known as a city of parks, and we aim to preserve this reputation for future generations. I will focus on several problems that we are studying. Population increase. Lviv has become a major migration hub during the war. According to the Coordination Center of Lviv Regional State Administration, approximately 6,700 people from frontline and occupied territories arrived in the region in 2024. So the total number of internally displaced persons in the region has reached 210,000. The overall balance is adjusted with the local population that has left the country. This influx has led to an increase in transportation load, parking demand, and urban construction activity. All this and other factors impact the natural landscapes of Lviv, particularly by increasing recreational pressure on cities' green zones. Participants of the Eco Fortress project have studied the condition of Lviv's green spaces. The total number of higher vascular plant species in Lviv is 988, of which only 17% are indigenous species. Despite the transformation of urban ecosystems, 47 species of higher vascular plants listed in the Red Book of Ukraine have been preserved in the city. According to the World Health Organization, the optimal area of green spaces per urban resident should be at least 50 cubic meters. In Lviv, green spaces are represented by 6 main types: forest and forest park areas, park and square plantings, linear plantings along streets, green spaces on private plots, organized gardening associations and cemeteries, fragments of natural vegetation within the city's green zone. So, uncontrolled population growth in wartime conditions exacerbates the challenges. The situation is somewhat evened out by the fact that the city's green space system includes urban forests owned by the State Forest Fund of Ukraine and urban public spaces, intra-district spaces in residential areas, street spaces, parks, lawns, flower gardens, and other spaces, including objects of the nature reserve fund. So the area of green spaces in Lviv by various categories is 33,286 hectares, including 4,419 hectares within the city, or almost 26% of the city's area. Talking about the densification of the city's development, we focused on the negative impact of reduced insolation, especially on the state of grass and shrub cover. Our study has established that the light intensity levels in residential areas of Lviv vary between 4.1 and 6.2 points. This indicates that certain sections of the city's green areas
Seems like we have a connection problem. Let's just
synthesis, which may lead to lawn degradation and reduced ecological stability. To ensure optimal insulation of lawns in urban environments, it is necessary to develop comprehensive green area management strategies aimed at reducing shading and ensuring sufficient sunlight penetration at the plant cover. These strategies may include optimizing the spatial structure of green plantations, conducting sanitary pruning, and creating open landscape areas to enhance light access. Analysis of the collected data revealed that the majority of plant associations in Lviv's park and forest park areas exhibit the best growth performance at moderate light levels equals from 4 to 7 points. Conversely, excessive insolation equals 9 and above lead to a decrease in species diversity of grass cover, indicating the negative impact of intense solar radiation. Specifically, such conditions may result in soil desiccation, deterioration of soil structure, and reduced water retention capacity. The number of indifferent plant species capable of adapting to any level of light intensity was found to be low across the studied associations. This highlights the importance of controlling insolation level during urban landscaping planning, as it directly affects both the ecological sustainability of plantations and the preservation of biodiversity. Furthermore, dense urban construction significantly alters the microclimate, creating the phenomenon known as the urban heat island effect. This occurs to the accumulation of heat by concrete, asphalt, and metal surfaces, which heat up quickly during the day and release heat slowly at night. As a result, the average temperature in urban green areas may be considerably higher compared to natural landscapes, accompanied by a reduction in air and soil humidity. These changes have a determinal effect on the grass cover, reducing its vitality and its capacity to perform ecological functions such as air purification and lowering urban temperatures. Therefore, ensuring a balanced level of insulation in green areas is a critical component of urban ecological planning. This will contribute to preserving biodiversity and improving the overall quality of the urban environment. One more issue that became the focus of the Eco Fortress project is uncontrolled cutting of trees in the city. Naturally, this was triggered by energy-related problems caused by Russian attacks on energy infrastructure. The country and the city faced prolonged power outages, which became particularly alarming as winter approached. As a result, tree felling was observed in city's park areas. Although justifications such as a hazardous condition of old and damaged trees were announced, in many cases the process remained uncontrolled. Fortunately, thanks to the efforts of our energy specialists, the situation was stabilized, but the damage caused has left consequences. In 2023, a total of 3,598 trees were cut down in Lviv, while only 240 were planted. According to the City Council, there has been no complete inventory of the city's green spaces. Among the trees that were removed, there were both hazardous or dead trees as well as those cut down during reconstruction and construction works. As of today, the authorities report that the process is under control with 1,478 permits issued the year 2024. Considering that the city has not yet conducted an inventory of its green spaces, and cases of unauthorized tree cutting for construction purpose are quite widespread. The city lacks accurate data of the actual area of green spaces per resident. In 2000, this figure was 54 square meters per person. And the situation is somewhat alleviated by the fact that significant forested areas are included within the city's geographical boundaries. According to the state enterprise, Lviv Forest Management, the forest park part of the city's green zone covered 28,867 hectares, comprising 80 forested districts: Борщівське, Брюховицьке, Завадівське, Винниківське, Красівське, Липниківське, Лапаївське, and Товщівське. The total forest area within the city's limits, Винниківське, Завадівське, and Брюховицьке forestry districts, amounts to 3,447 hectares. In recent years, funds from the city's Environmental Protection Fund have been allocated annually to implement measures aimed at preserving the city's green spaces. The boundaries of parks have been determined, and work of the development of territorial organization project has begun. The city's greening has been continuously carried out, including phytopathological inspections and green spaces, and the removal of hazardous and dead trees, mechanical removal of mistletoe, sanitary pruning of tree crowns, and vaccination of chestnut trees against the chestnut leaf miner. Efforts have also been made to enrich the species diversity of horizontal and vertical green plantings, ensure the maintenance of street planting, and introduce vertical greening of the historic part of the city. The city has also implemented the passporting and creation a new nature reserves and developed maintenance project for parks designed at garden park art monuments. Information and protective signs have been installed in city parks. The Frankivsk District's administration of Lviv commented that for the current moment, it is impossible to accurately track how many trees were cut down and which one, as no stumps or traces of these trees remain, as if nothing ever grew there. At that time, the city did not carry out an inventory of street or courtyard trees due to lack of funds. Thus, in conclusion, several key environmental challenges can be identified. Degradation of natural landscapes. Parks and forest park plantations in Lviv are significantly affected by anthropogenic activities, leading to change in environmental conditions. Key factors include dense urban development and increased recreational pressure on green areas, resulting in biodiversity loss and a reduction in ecosystem services. Littering and pollution of soil and water resources, as well as the accumulation of solid waste in park zones, pose serious environmental threats. These processes not only reduce the aesthetic and recreational value of the areas, but also create risk for local flora and fauna. Changes in the species composition of vegetation. The replacement of native species by invasive plants is a concerning trend that disturbs the ecological balance. The dominance of non-native species alters nutrient cycles, decreases biodiversity, and complicates the natural regeneration of ecosystems. and problem with the maintenance and restoration of green areas. The insufficient level of greening and preservation of park areas is caused by a lack of financial resources and clear management strategies. To ensure the sustainable development of urban green zones, it is necessary to implement effective vegetation care practices, conduct regular phytopathological monitoring, and introduce modern ecological restoration technologies. I would like also to emphasize that the project is not limited to the boundaries of the city of Lviv or confined to classroom-based mathematical models. Active participants, active students, and volunteers agile adopt our developments and apply them in their hometowns or regions from where they came to study. For instance, we maintain a close cooperation with the Rostocha Nature Reserve. It is a natural reserve in Ukraine, which is located in Yavoriv districts of Lviv region. And since 2017, a section of Rostocha Reserve covering a big area has been included to UNESCO World Heritage as a part of ancient and primeval beech forest of the Carpathian and other regions of Europe. Another aspect I would like to briefly present is physical damage to the soil cover. The research on physical damage to the soil cover in Ukraine during the war serves several critical purposes. Crater formation from explosions, trenches, toxic substances released by rocket flights, and the movement of heavy machinery, all these factors affect soil quality and consequently the crops we grow. According to preliminary calculations by Ukraine's Ministry of Environmental Protection and Natural Resources, the full-scale Russian invasion has caused nearly 6,500 instances of ecosystem destruction, with total damage estimated to exceed 65 billion euros. However, this figure do not account for the damage sustained in temporary occupied territories. We have identified that soil destruction can be classified in four main types. Mechanical damage. This involves changes to the soil structure which occur when the fertile layer is destroyed or mixed with other layers due to trench digging or fortification construction. After such changes, the soil loses its fertility, retains less wetness, and becomes less suitable for crop cultivation. The movement of military vehicles also contribute to mechanical damage, compacting the soil and making it more prone to drought. Physical pollution includes changes of the soil's properties. Military vehicles cause vibration. Explosions and fires, apart from the direct destruction, disrupt the oil thermal regime, which is critical for plant hydration and moisture retention. Chemical pollution occurs due to fuel leaks, combustion byproducts settling on the soil from the air, and toxins from explosive substances in ammunition. However, ammunition explosions cause not only chemical pollution, but also mechanical damage. The shock wave from explosion leads to soil erosion, as a result, further exacerbating climate change and the need for adaptation. Biological damage involves the destruction of all living organisms in the soils, particularly microorganisms responsible for maintaining soil health and fertility. These organisms are killed due to soil compaction, heat impacts, and destruction of soil horizons, and exposure to toxic substances from unexploded or exploded ordnance. These factors collectively demonstrate the critical and multifaceted damage caused to the soil by military activities. We decided to start with the mechanical and physical types of soil destruction. We hope that our research will be useful. We proceed from the assumption that simulated studies conducted in our Western territories of country will provide benefit in the future. We understand that similar studies in the eastern regions of country are very challenging, primarily to the extensive landmines in fields and forests. So, among the mechanical damages, we focus on two main types: soil displacement caused by explosions and damage caused by passage of heavy military equipment. Heavy military equipment has left its mark on many Ukrainian fields. The negative impact can be studied in two ways. By reviewing similar global experience, fortunately for humanity and unfortunately for our research, there are very few hotspots where similar study can be conducted. Or by simulating this situation. For example, studying the effect of heavy agricultural machinery on the fertile soil layer. Tracked tractors used in agriculture, while distributing weight more evenly, similarly cause compaction of deep soil layers. This phenomenon reduces soil porosity, restricts air and water movement, and complicates the penetration of plant root systems. Overcompacted soil with a density of up to 1.4 grams per cubic centimeter can lead to a decline in crop yields. The damage and its severity are directly related to the weight of the vehicle. We assumed that the weight ratio of agricultural machinery to a military vehicle is approximately 1 to 7. Thus, the damage caused can also be studied using ratio of 7. Optimal parameters for the most critical physical properties of soil have been established. For example, the following densities are considered optimal: 1 to 1.3 gram per cubic centimeter for clay and loam soils, 1.1 to 1.4 gram per cubic centimeter for light loam soils, and 1.2 to 1.45 gram per cubic centimeter for sandy soils. That is why the important aspect is soil deformation in the contact area between heavy machinery track and the surface. As heavy machine move, the soil experience not only mechanical compaction, but also structural changes, which adversely affect its fertility. An analysis of existing contact interaction models underscores that need for developing universal approaches to calculate stress and restore soil structure after machinery passes. But the number of machinery passes is also a critical factor. Loose soils with their lower baseline density are more susceptible to compaction even after a vehicle single pass. In contrast, heavy clay soils, despite their already higher baseline density, still undergo significant structural changes. To underline, the action plan for areas affected by heavy military machinery should be the next. Demining of the area. It is a critical first step in the reclamation of damaged or conflict-affected land. Overall, demining is not just a technical requirement, but a cornerstone of comprehensive recovery effort. Digital mapping using satellite drone imagery and ground monitoring with coordinated referencing. We have experience utilizing drones for landscape exploration. However, due to current state of emergency, civilian use of aircraft is prohibited. Measuring compaction depth and severity using a penetrometer. It is a common device for determining the compaction of soil on agricultural land. Decision-making on soil treatment to combat compaction Clearly, many fields will require deep loosening after the war. Applying scientifically sound solutions can not only preserve soil fertility, but also improve the efficiency of agricultural production. The second reason for physical damage of the soil cover is mechanical nature. Of a mechanical nature is the volume of soil displaced by shell explosions and damage caused by trench digging, bunkers, and similar activities. According to research, over 1 year of active warfare in Ukraine, the detonation of 15,505 shells displaced a minimum 91,407.36 cubic meters of soils. If you want to put it in perspective, one truck can hold 8 to 9 cubic meters of soils, and we have 91,000. Here you can see the volume of soil displaced by shell explosions, data based on Donetsk region in 2015. So, caliber 82 millimeter mortar shell, it's 1.5 cubic meters. 120 millimeters artillery shell, 8.25 cubic meters. 152 millimeter high explosive shell, 11.25 cubic meters, and 220 millimeter cluster rocket displaced 14.85 cubic meters. Reclaiming such territories presents significant challenges. The difficulties extend beyond leveling the landscape and refilling this displaced soil. They also encompass the removal of chemical pollutants and remnants of shell casing. Additionally, it is crucial to consider that approximately 3% of explosive shells failed to detonate and remained buried, posing ongoing risks. This means that out of 15,505 craters, representing 97%, approximately 480 shells remains unexploded and varying depths, posing a significant risk. The reclamation process will be long-lasting, costly, and hazardous. Moreover, the natural recovery of land resources from pollution is estimated to take hundreds of years. Action plan for fields damaged by trench explosions and other disturbances. Demining the area to ensure safety and remove unexploded ordnance. Digital mapping of the territory using satellite imagery, unmanned aerial vehicles, and ground-based monitoring with precise coordinate referencing. Removal of non-soil materials, including wooden, metal, and other waste, and refilling the soil. The order of soil layers must replicate undamaged areas, with the top layer 20-30 centimeters being the most fertile. If soil is refilled randomly, the agricultural productivity of these areas will be significantly reduced, making necessary additional measures such as organic fertilizers, soil amendments, and phytoremediation. In the end, I am ending. I would like to say a few words about the issue of developing an organizational mechanism of environmental responsible use education in current conditions. This issue is deliberately at the core of the Eco-Fortress project, as it is of utmost importance considering the growing challenges of sustainable development and security, especially in the context of the events unfolding in Ukraine since February 2022. The full-scale war initiated by Russia has significantly impacted all spheres of life, including ecology, educational process, and social stability, necessitating a comprehensive approach to fostering responsibility and resilience among the younger generation. In this context, cultivating environmental consciousness among youth is a key task, as this generation will form the foundation for the country's recovery and future development after the war. However, research shows that only 28% of Ukrainian youth are actively involved in environmental initiatives. It's according to the Renaissance Foundation 2023. This highlights the need to create systemic organizational mechanism to foster environmental consciousness, integrate sustainable development values into the educational process, and address security challenges. Despite the massive challenges faced by Ukraine due to the war, including significant ecological damage, social instability, and disrupted educational system, there is a powerful opportunity for renewal and growth. The youth of Ukraine is the driving force of change, hold the key to shaping a sustainable and resilient future. By cultivating environmental awareness, fostering responsibility, and integrating values of sustainable development into education, Ukraine can overcome current adversities and lay the groundwork for a beginner tomorrow. For a brighter tomorrow, sorry. The war has underscored the importance of unity, innovation, and resilience. The ongoing efforts to rebuild the country offer a unique chance to adopt sustainable practices, restore damaged ecosystem, and strengthen social cohesion. As Ukraine recovers, it has the potential to become a global example of how determination and strategic planning can transform crisis into opportunity. The challenges are significant, but so are the possibilities. The future of Ukraine is not just about survival, it's about thriving, leading, and inspiring the world with its resilience and vision for sustainable development. Thank you for your attention.
Dr. Shevchenko, thank you so much for sharing this extremely important research with us. It's very sobering to hear all of these statistics and think about the challenges that lie ahead. And we really appreciate you presenting this in such an accessible manner to those of us who are not in this field. Colleagues, we have about 20 minutes for discussion, question and answer. So Dr. Shevchenko, maybe I could ask you to stop sharing your screen and we can have, there we go, a more intimate experience. So we welcome your reactions, questions, commentary. Please, if you'd like to speak, use the raise hand function and we'll take your questions in the order in which they are received. So please, colleagues, go ahead with your questions and comments.
I understand that presentation maybe it's overloaded by numbers, but as I was preparing, I felt that the point I was presenting should be close to a lot of our members, of our friends. So I believe that the topics I mentioned are discussable, and many of us Ukrainians are talking about the same points. Our research just tried to be more constructive and to present it to improve our ideas by numbers and by practical researches. So I understand if there are a lot of questions and you don't have something special to ask, but it also can be a common question, like how we do it here in Western Ukraine, in Lviv. I believe that colleagues from other parts of Ukraine have maybe some interests, and you're welcome.
Thank you. Yulia Sharon, please go ahead with your question.
Hello, and thank you for such interesting for me, as I'm from Western Ukraine, it's was a very interesting lecture, and I have maybe such a little common question, but about the first part of your presentation, maybe you have some propositions or some interesting values how to um, re restore our green town. For example, as I know in Lviv, there are some buildings that built at the top of the buildings are planted trees and other plants. Maybe you have such, maybe you study about such interesting innovation propositions, maybe in, for example, as in in other countries, as experience, and that can be used in Lviv and in other parts of Ukraine to solve this problem.
Thank you, Yulia, for your question. Yeah, definitely we cooperate with our city administration and we use their practices. But as for me, I do not agree totally with them. Probably you're from Lviv, yes?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
And
So
also
you see
from
that we have
Mykolaiv.
a high level of new constructions now, and new buildings are rising up, and we have a lot of new buildings in city. I mentioned it. It's logical because we accept a lot of new people in Lviv, and the city is growing up. But one of solutions the city proposed is green zones on the roofs of the buildings. It is very nice, helpful, but here are another question. What exactly we are going to keep? Are we just trying to keep a green color in our city, or are we trying to keep the native plants? As I mentioned, only a very low percentage of local native plants are keeping now in a city. I mean the plants that were growing. Probably you know about the chestnut, kasztany,
Yes.
story that it was a big sickness in the city. One of the reason was insulation. The solar radiation impacts a lot of the trees. We all called our city city of chestnuts, but now we are not saying that because chestnuts are not so much in city. So the question is, we kept our native, our local green plants, or we just putting new ones to keep the green color. So here, I do not agree totally with our administration to bring a new types of plants to land here in Lviv. I prefer to keep our local greening, and I believe that it should be more representative and more better for our city. But we have a nice cooperation, and we sometimes they're listening to us, sometimes we are not listening to them, but it's as usual.
Thank you.
Did I
And
answer?
maybe
Okay.
one little question, and how do you think at what level it have to be um, done at the government or maybe local some communities it can be to solve this problem to as you said to help our plants, yes, our natural plants that
I
we
believe that in local level it's more comfortable because the um, okay, definitely we have the Ministry of Environment, and it has its policy. But they in local areas, uh, as the city changes very quick and it's very, modified quickly, so could green planning do. Um, let's say that this year we built 5 to 10 new buildings. So the green plantings should be on this level. Next year, probably for some reasons, 5 buildings were destroyed, so the green could be on another level. Otherwise, it depends on population of city. We have a different reason that the people are going out of the city. Now we accept a lot of people from the eastern Ukraine, and we have the common recommendations from the World Health Organization, which has to be a green level in a city for a person. So it's very it's changing. It changes quickly. So on local level, it will be coordinating better.
More quick. I understand. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question. And now we have one from Lesia Daniluk. Please go ahead.
Hello to everyone. Thank you for presentation. First of all, my topic of my project always connected with environmental protection, but I am working in the sphere of environmental rights and environmental law. But thank you, Serhiy, for interesting presentation in such light. It's really very interesting for me and gave me some ideas for next research. And also, I'd like to say that problems which you mentioned in the beginning in Lviv also are common to in my city, in Ivano-Frankivsk, is also in the worst part of Ukraine. In my opinion, a lot of such problems, unfortunately, depends on unrational local policy, and there are no some green plans which you mentioned also, Julia. The next point why it's very interesting for me, because when we talk about the city which is situated in the western part of Ukraine, of course they are not such attacked like other part, but each attack has influence into environment, and we have to talk in the complex aspects, yes, water, soil, air pollution, etc. And I agree with you in the question which Yulia formulated, and I agree that local policy, when we talk about local measures, it will be more effective, more quickly maybe. At the same time, it's very important as for me to create some common direct for post-war policy. I mean environmental policy, yes. And if you have maybe some ideas, some proposition, which elements of actions must be included to such document in the state level, not in the local, but in the state level.
Thank you for your question, Lesia. The point you are raising is very important on a state level and in a country level. On my level, on our side, on the side of our project, it's kind of difficult to research the country level. So as I mentioned, we started from the small parts, from the small topics, and expecting to rise them to a bigger. I agree that it's important to have state policy in environmental protection, in recovering. But the situation we live here is unique situation. We never had some situation in the past, and hope that we will never have such situation in the future. So creating a big plans, for example, creating a new ministry of situation affair with environment, sustainable development, or something else. I do not believe that it will be useful in the future. Well, I hope it will be not useful in the future, as the war will end it and we will not have the war again. So I say again that situation we are faced are unrepeatable, are unique. As for example, the situation that we had with tree cutting in city that was triggered by the electricity problems, and people who were afraid of winter started to cut the trees in parks to have the wood to warm their houses. It's unusual situation. So we are not looking in some kind of advices or some kind on state policy on country level. We are trying to research the local problems and to show and to present that they are critical and they can damage a local level. Something like that.
Thank you.
Thank you for those great questions. Now we have one from Marta Dimitrishin, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much for such an interesting presentation. And my question will be regarding the way to prevent somehow this huge damage. So you told us that for soil and for plants and species, a lot of damage were made. It's a really incredibly big damage, and unfortunately, the war is ongoing. Yes, and now, tomorrow, in some time, another damage is possible. Is there a way somehow to prevent it, to make it maybe not that risky, not that huge, or do something to stop this future damage?
We all hope for that. Thank you, Marta, for your question. We all hope that war will stop and we will not have any damages anymore. But for the moment, we faced the damage that is caused by the invasion that not depends on us. And our task is to do something with that. As the craters from bombs, which are full in our fields, the simple problem is that the agriculture vehicle couldn't move on a field with such craters. So that is the point and topic we are working with. I'm sorry, but I do not have the receipt to stop the war and to prevent it.
Thank you.
Thank you. If maybe I'll take the moderator's privilege to follow up on that question. I think, not to put words in your mouth, Marta, but I think you know, a related question that I would have is, are there prophylactic measures, right, protective measures that can be taken, understanding that the war is ongoing and that the damage will continue? Ecologically speaking, are there measures that can be taken that can somehow lessen the effects, lessen the damage, some prophylactic measure?
Thank you, Sarah. Let's be more specific. For example, when we try to research the damage was it caused by the military vehicles, we try to use the same vehicles in agriculture, which is tractors, the simple tractors. And we noticed that this kind of research is already existing as researchers and who is working in agriculture fields noticed that tractors damage the soil and the forests and the plants, the small trees, etc. For example, it's very small part, but like an example of not damaging so much. A lot of tractors are changing their wheels to a big plastic wheels with composed materials, not from metal. So it damages, the damage is less, and it can be more useful in agriculture in the future. Sure, I understand that I can't propose to use plastic wheels to a tank, to military machines. It's ridiculous. But there are some ways to reduce the damages. So if militaries want to, but I do not believe that they will listen to they never listen to the same science. So the communication is a little bit hard, but the solutions are. The small solutions are. The point is who wants to hear it.
Thank you. Well, this was a really interesting conversation, and again, such an important presentation. I learned a lot. I know that all of our colleagues learned a lot, and I want to congratulate you, Dr. Shevchenko, on this really important research, and wishing you and your colleagues and the students that you're training all the best. It's so important that that's something that you continue to highlight and work towards, is training the next generation of specialists. And let's hope that
Thank you.
they're listened
Thank you.
to.